Where Are You Going, Hero Girl? Written and read by Waltzing the Fae Paths. Chapter 4. June. When they return to Shouta and Hizashi's house, Oboro is immediately bundled into the bathroom with some old clothes of Shota's, while Shouta waits outside just in case he is needed, and then shows Oboro to the kitchen before he takes himself to shower and bathe. Hizashi stays with the girls downstairs, but otherwise Shouta is certain his husband would be up here with him and joining him in his meltdown. Reverse insists that Eri-chan washes next, and Reverse is in there with her to help and then shower herself. When they return to the kitchen, Eri-chan is in a red dress paired with a white shirt and stockings that Reverse had stashed somewhere, while Reverse is in purple yoga pants and sports bra with a yellow haori with 2 long sleeves over top. The necklace she had clutched at periodically was a long chained locket, shaped like a heavily stylized, smiling green bunny head. Hizashi is shooed from the kitchen to have a shower of his own, while Reverse takes over the dinner prep. Reverse putters around in the kitchen, putters around instinctively, like she knows intimately where everything is, even the butter, which Hizashi and his ADHD continue to put in the fruit basket because he thinks it's funny and because he continues to forget that it belongs literally anywhere else. She finishes the miso soup and checks the rice and dices vegetables and meat and is so comfortable in their house, in their kitchen with one of the mahos perched on her shoulder, that Shouta feels his suspicions growing. They eat at the table together, and then Eri-chan is put to bed on the couch and a futon is rolled out for Reverse right next to her, and the spare room is checked to make sure there are still freshest sheets on the bed for Oboro. While all of this is happening, Oboro does the dishes while Reverse makes them all tea, makes Shota's and Hizashi's drinks perfectly, and checks in frequently with Oboro to make sure she's making his cup to his own preferences. They're all finally seated and nursing their cups when Reverse declares softly, "I know that Eri-chan said I didn't have to, but I will. I'm keeping Ayashi Mitosa, but I'll change my Eri. I'll be June, I think. Please. We can call you Big Eri and her Little Eri," Hizashi offers immediately. "Or Eri-chan could be Erika or Eriko," Oboro says quickly. "She's already offered to change." Reverse grabs a hold of the pendant for her locket in the hand not wrapped around her tea, bows her head, breathes, and then looks back up at them. "No, I'll be June, but written with the character for 10, please. I should match the theme." She forces a smile. "You don't have to," all three of them say together, over top of each other and with various levels of force. "No, I don't. But well, maybe not want to, but I think that I need to. Eri is the name my birth parents gave me, and they didn't really... I don't have memories of them anymore, so I don't need the name that they gave me, you know?" "Only if you're sure," Shouta finally says. Reverse June draws in a shuddering breath, then looks up and gives them a painfully fake smile. Faintly, her hands shake around the cup she has white-knuckling. After another quiet few moments, Shouta suggests they all go to bed. June takes the futon on the floor beneath where Eri-chan has the couch, and Oboro takes the guest room. Tucked against Hizashi's chest, Shouta waits for his husband to settle. His hearing aids were out, so there will be no whispered conversations between them. But they rarely do whisper like this. Hizashi takes Shota's hands in his and signs what he means, slowly and clearly, and Shouta does the same in answer. "Do you think she was ours?" "I think it is highly likely." "What do you think she meant by match the theme?" "Who knows?" "But do you think she was ours?" "I just said it looks very likely. Don't ask her, though. You might scare her off." "She said she had an older brother, too." Hizashi signs this the slowest, and Shouta understands. The family that June had had was tight-knit and loving, and their loss was palpable every time June mentioned them. Said he was in Class A too. Nedzu gave her permission to run a gym and fight club for the GE kids. Might transfer in, like I did. The other colour in her hair is purple. It's the wrong colour for Minetta, and her brother might not even be in this class. Don't rush. He'll find us, just as she has. Hizashi flails their hands around, inarticulate, but Shouta just squeezes his hands tighter. Go to sleep, Hizashi. We can find out more in the morning. Hizashi is up at the crack of dawn, carefully drawing himself away from his husband and sneaking down to the kitchen, putting his hearing aids back in just in case. In the living room, he finds June's futon already rolled up and the girl herself in the purple workout gear from last night, doing carefully quiet lunges from one side of the room to the other, hands held above her head and long hair up in a sweaty bun, loose hair stuck to her tacky forehead and neck. She smiles at him when she sees him, signs "Good morning" in perfect Nihon Shua, and carefully lowers herself into the splits. An arrow of adorableness lances through Hizashi's heart, and he signs back brightly, "Good morning. How did you sleep?" She grimaces, and once she's comfortably in her splits, she signs, "Better. Eri slept well. And you?" He smiles brilliantly and says quickly, "Good. What would you like for breakfast?" "Oh, I can help. I didn't think anyone would be awake for another hour, or I would have started everything already." Hizashi flaps a hand at her quickly, says, No, you're a guest. It's all right." At the sign for guest, her smile loses its shine and her eyes their sparkle, and what he'd said in the night to show comes back to him. They had meant something to this girl in the future that will now never be. So, even more quickly, he signs back, "Sho won't wake up until I get him, and Oboro was never an early riser either, I don't think. I just wanted a cup of tea. Would you like one too?" "Yes, please." She carefully comes out of her splits and eases into wind-down stretches. By the time Hizashi comes back into the living room with 2 teas, she's breathing steadily in a meditation pose, hands together and a faint white lightning crackling over her body. When she stops and looks up at him, Hizashi hands her her cup and signs, "Was that your quirk? I thought you said it reversed organic matter. Is it wise to use right now?" June licks her lips nervously, puts her cup back down and says, "Rewind does, yes. This was a training exercise. No one in this house was at risk from me doing this." Hizashi hums and gives her an encouraging look, but she won't look at him and instead looks incredibly uncomfortable. Maybe he came on too strong. "It's a student-free day at the school today. They're going over the security with a fine-tooth comb, and Sho and I have been given the day off to spend with you 3. What would you like to do?" "Make sure Eri-chan's okay, I think." "Should we get a bigger house?" Hizashi teases. She looks stricken and quickly signs, "I don't mind sharing with Eri. We can stay here." "Well, then we'll need to look into ways to make the house fit everyone comfortably. You girls can't stay on the couch all the time." She struggles, looking like she wants to both agree with him and defend the house again. Hizashi admires her dedication to the house, but the fact of the matter is simple. They don't currently have enough room. When they first bought the house, they had assumed that a single spare room would be enough. It's not as if they ever had anyone other than Nimuri or Tensei, or very occasionally Emi, over anyway. But clearly that was no longer the fact. They did have a shared office space that they could renovate into a split bedroom for the 2 girls. They keep most of their paperwork at school or their actual offices anyway. So Hizashi signs this to her, asks what she thinks about turning the office into a bedroom for herself and Eri-chan, and when she seems open to the idea, asks her what colour she'd like them to paint the wall. She tries to play it off and say that Eri-chan should pick, but Hizashi can see there's something in her eye. She already has a colour in mind, so he supposes he'll just have to try and get Eri-chan to help him figure it out and go from there. They go to the office and have a look around together, June's eyes showing an open curiosity. They discuss bed types and curtains and whether they should put glow-in-the-dark stickers up for Eri-chan, if the current rug should stay or be replaced with something else, if the 2 current desks should stay or if they should be moved elsewhere. June seems attached to both desks though, and starts to sketch out where she thinks everything could go to make it all fit comfortably. They sign the whole time, which Hizashi is especially excited about. The only ones who will have a whole conversation with him in Nihon Shua are his mothers, his husband, and the underground hero Cosmetology, on the rare occasions that the mute, colour change hero cross paths with Hizashi. It's nice, and he can't help wondering if Oboro will do the same, or this older brother of June's that they have yet to find. He hopes so. Around 8 o'clock, Oboro stirs and comes looking for them. Hizashi had turned his aids off to save battery early in the piece, and June is busy sketching and signing out her plans, Juna the cat on her shoulder, so they are both taken by surprise when he comes into the office. June moves quickly to slap a hand over Hizashi's mouth when he went to squawk, signing "shh" at him sharply. Very hesitatingly, Oboro signed "sorry" back, followed by "slow to sign, sorry." "I can translate," June whispered and signed quickly, but Hizashi waved a hand at her, turning his aids back on again. "Sorry, Hizashi," Oboro said instantly. "I'll practice and get better." "It's all good," Hizashi smiles brightly. "I only ever have them out at home anyway, so it's no matter." A very familiar mulish expression comes over his old friend's face. "Yeah, and you're at home now, so you shouldn't have to accommodate me. I'll practice." His return smile is a little bit more genuine now, a little bit wobbly and a little bit wet. "Thank you." Oboro flashes his brightest smile back and then asks what they were doing in the office. "The girls can't stay on the couch forever," Hizashi says teasingly. "Sho and I don't keep much here anyway. We can shift anything sensitive to the school or our agencies." "You don't share an agency?" Oboro asks, head tilted to the side. No. Show's underground, and I mostly do day shifts around the radio studio, crowd control, and holidays." "So you two live together, so you'll see each other more? That's cool, man. But why did Sho say you were a team if you don't work together?" Hizashi freezes. That's what they'd forgotten to talk about yesterday. Hizashi coughs awkwardly and uses his left hand to push hair behind his ear at just the right angle that the light will catch on his wedding band. "Well, something like that. Oboro, we're married. This is our house. We've been married nearly 11 years now." It's Oboro's turn to freeze. His mouth drops and he stares at Hizashi, eyes flicking to the simple gold band and then back up to Hizashi's eyes over and over and over again. June, why don't you go and wake Sho up for me, please? Put the kettle on your way past." June chirps, "Yes, Mike," and ducks out of the room quickly. Hizashi pulls out one of the desk chairs and pushes it to Oboro and pulls the other to himself. Oboro flops into the wheelie chair and stares. "Dude, married? How? You and Shota's... Shit, Shota's Shota! How does it work?" "I'm Pan and Sho's Ace," Hizashi nods. "I'm extroverted and he's incredibly introverted, I know. But without you, we were each other's best friend. Nomuri and Tensei and Emi are all good friends, of course. But sometimes we know each other's inside and out, me and Sho. It helps that we both work so much. Sho's a teacher and a top underground hero, and I run my radio show and teach and am a limelight hero. So we only see each other a little bit, usually either very early or very late, unless we have days off at the same time. It must hurt, Obero murmured. It can, Sho answers from the doorway, closing the door softly behind him. But at this point, we're used to it. How did it happen? Obero's voice is soft and not quite pained. How did you two... When we went on that mission, I said I had something to tell you later, Sho says, equally soft. You two were dating behind my back? Obero squawked. No, you idiot, Sho snaps in his usual fashion. I was going to tell you then that I thought I had a crush on Zashi. After that mission, I went mute and self-isolated for a week, and then Zashi dragged me out and made me talk. We learnt pretty quickly that time was short, so really, it's your fault. Hizashi barked a laugh at that. Fault? So much for happily married. Shouta gives him a fond look, one eyebrow raised. Zashi smiled sappily back, and Obero was quiet, watching the two of them. We dated for 3.5 years before we decided to tie the knot, Hizashi finishes cheerfully. Sho had a job go bad and was on bed rest for ages, so we had time to plan it out and get it ready. It was small and quiet, and it's kind of one of the better kept secrets of the hero community that we're together. Thanks to Tensei and Yumuri, most people know that we're best friends, and thanks to Emmy's jokes, lots of people think that we're both workaholics incapable of a relationship anyway. There was a soft knock on the office door, and then June was looking in, a tray with 3 cups, 2 teas, 1 coffee, balanced atop of it. I'm going to start breakfast, June offered. I'll keep Eri-chan in the kitchen with me, okay? The 3 men all nod at and thank her, and the chirpy teen ducked back out of the office. Why are we in the office? Shouta asks tiredly, rubbing a hand over his face. We're going to renovate it into a room for the girls, Hizashi chirps, enjoying how soft his husband looked in his loose grey and pink pyjamas. Here, these are June's plans. What do you think? Sho looked them over contemplatively, obviously giving Obero more time to absorb everything. If you're uncomfortable with us, Kayama, she'll have room available. Or, your mother's place is still open too. We have the spare key, Hizashi tells Obero. Obero stares up at them with wide eyes, shocked and offended. I'm not homophobic! They both snort into laughter at that. Oh no, we didn't think you were, Sho says, amused. But it is weird. We're a lot older than we were, and now the dynamic is different. If it's too much for you, you can leave. We won't hold it against you or anything. Obero puffs his chest up in the typical false bravado of a 16-year-old. Psh! I've already missed 14 years. I'm not missing any more. It's time for the rooftop gang to get back together. Thanks for listening. Couple of side notes with this piece. Firstly, Nihon Shua is the name for the Japanese sign language. Throughout this story, I use a fair bit of this sign language where I can, but a lot of the translations were hard for me to find, so quite often in the spec I've swapped back to Auslan, so Australian Sign Language, because hi, I'm Australian, and that's just my go-to. But yes, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Cheers, bye!